It is time for the coolest ball python in the world. This month's ball python comes to us from Captive Bred Specialties. If you've been following the news and the hobby, you might have an idea of which snake I'm going to tell you about, but you might not. I might have a surprise up my sleeve. Let's find out. Let's get to work. Thank you for joining me today. If we haven't met before, this channel is called Proper Royals, and it's all about my family's journey from ball python hobbyists to a ball python business, and we talk about everything about that journey right here. Down below you'll find links to all our socials. We are Proper Royals everywhere. You'll also find links to our Morph Market store as well as our Proper Royals collection of NFTs if crypto is your game. Thank you for joining me today. It's that time of month where I tell you about the coolest ball python in the world. You know, it's a little fluid to define what cool is, but we all know it when we see it. And this month's ball python is cool on a whole lot of levels. First off, visually it just blows my mind. Secondly, it really changes the paradigm of what we thought about a certain gene, one that I had always been taught and learned was dominant, and now I'm convinced it is a co-dom. Plus, it comes from cool guys. It has new genes in it that are really blowing up, a really popular gene right now. So let's get right into it. So this snake, I told you earlier, let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I got my notes here because there's all kinds of cool stuff we're going to talk about on this. This snake comes to us from Captive Bred Specialties. If I have it right, they're from Waukesha, Wisconsin, and I spent a lot of time learning how to pronounce that. I hope I got it. My wife's from the Midwest in Minnesota, so if I screwed that up, I got some people to answer to. This snake, they've been working on this snake for 4 years. Now, they just did a video with Justin Kabilka where Justin bought one of this snake's clutch mates. And I'm not even talking about that snake when it comes to the coolest ball python in the world. I think it's one of the others in the clutch. If you haven't caught on by now, I'm talking about a Sunset combo. So Sunset came on the scene and it was just the most expensive, coolest new morph in ages, and I think, I don't know all the history of it. I know some friends that'll correct me, and please do if I've messed up any of these dates or timelines. But around 2015, 2016, we start seeing Sunsets appear, and they are a fortune. They're still a fortune, and this is 5-6 years later. I know for sure early adopters were guys like Brian Cusco. He could only afford to get in at the price of hets, and he was buying his hets from Barcheck, and who knows who Barcheck was buying them from. In 2017, Luke and Ryan, who are the guys from Captive Bred Specialties, Luke and Ryan pick up a Sunset in 2017, 4 years ago. They said it was the most expensive snake they'd ever bought, and they decided to go all in on one project. Gutsy move. I'm proud of them. I'm glad that they get to see this come to fruition. So cool. Many pairings, many clutches, many breedings. We're talking 4 years later. So that adult is that male now has probably sired who knows how many clutches and how many hets, and those hets have had a chance to grow up. So they're on their second year of trying to hit. Their goal was to hit a Sunset Pied, and they did hit a Sunset Pied. Check out that video with Kabilka if you want to learn more about the Sunset Pied. I'll show you a picture of it here in a minute as well. But here's what they did. And I got to take a minute here too and say thank you to Captive Bred Specialties. Luke and Ryan were kind enough to send me some media directly from Captive Bred Specialties. They were cool enough to talk to me a little bit on Instagram and message with me. And thank you very, very much for the blessing to make this video. I hope I do you guys proud because this is a cool ball python. In all that breeding, in all their goals to get to a Sunset Pied, they land on a Leopard double het Sunset Pied. So somewhere in there they bred that original Sunset to a Leopard Pied. Boom, the babies come out. You got males, you got a female, one Leopard het Sunset het Pied, another Leopard het Sunset het Pied. And what happens, they grow up, they breed them together, And maybe they're from different clutches. I'm not sure if they're from the same pairing or not. Maybe they had other leopards in there. They pair them together. And man, did they smash the odds. You know what? Before we pick all this apart, let me just go ahead and tell you, let me introduce you to the coolest ball python in the world. Then let's pick this apart. Let's find out what came in their clutch. And I'm going to tell you why this is the coolest ball python in the world. For the first time ever, from Captive Bred Specialties, please welcome to the Proper Royal stage, the coolest ball python in the world for October 2021. Bam! Look at that thing. Look at it. Whew! It's clearly a sunset. But what in the world else is going on? That thing looks like a monsoon or something in there. That is a super leopard sunset. Here's why I think this is the coolest ball python in the world. I'm going to show you a clutch mate that is a leopard sunset. And that leopard looks so different from that super leopard that there can be no doubt that leopard is a co-dom and not the dom that we all thought it was for the longest time. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's just enjoy the beauty of this thing. Look how dark and scrambled up that pattern is. The head is almost black and it just like glows underneath. I mean, you talk about a sunset. That is like the sun going down over a swamp in Louisiana. Man, I love this snake. I think it is super cool. And I gotta tell you, the pied sunset that they made is awesome. It's killer. Don't get me wrong. But I love the look of this thing. Like that pied, the pattern gets jumbled like it does on pieds, and it sort of gets smoothed and not washed out, kind of run together like you run your hands through paint or something. I love the definition of this super leopard. Woo! Holy cow. I gotta watch my mouth because I don't want to swear on these videos, but I am close on this thing. Holy smokes. So they paired a visual male leopard and a visual female leopard. Then both of those animals were double het, pied and sunset. So they were going het to het, leopard to leopard, and they produced, I believe he said there was 8 eggs, but regardless, in that clutch, they produced not 1, but 2 super leopard sunsets. That would have been amazing just with that. Because let me tell you, the super leopard sunset had a 1 in 64 chance, and they hit 2 of them. What? Then they hit the sunset pied, first ever, never existed before. And then look over here, they hit a leopard sunset pied. And they say it's a possible, and it's of course a possible super, but they don't have anything to compare it to. So it's a possible super leopard sunset pied. That's the same odds as a visual triple recessive. Unreal on triple het to triple het. That's the same odds. 1 to 216 maybe? I don't know. But back to the one at hand. So leopard forever, I've always understood that leopard is a dominant gene. It could have super genes. It could have 2 doses of leopard, but visually it's always going to look the same. There's not going to be a defining characteristic. If you look on Morph Market right now, they do list super leopard as a possible combination, but there's only 4. One of those 4 is listed as a possible. The other 3, let me go to the other end of the spectrum. There's one of them that looks different. So maybe there's another set of proof. The other 2 look just the same to me as any other leopard gene in working in a combo would look to me. But this is the first time I've ever seen a definitive difference. Let me show you the leopard sunset next to the super leopard sunset. There's the leopard next to the super leopard. If ever there was a case to prove that the leopard is indeed, at least in certain circumstances, and as I understand genetics, it ain't just in certain circumstances, it either is or it isn't, that is a codom. It has a super form, and there's the difference between the super leopard sunset and the leopard sunset. How cool. Visually cool, just a stunning snake. The coolest sunset in the world right now, in my opinion, at a time when the sunsets are really, really hot, and it proves a change, a quantum change in how we perceive leopard and what can be done with leopard. If that ain't cool, I don't know what is. So I should highlight something. I'm sitting here talking and bragging about how these genes are so crazy, that the odds are so crazy that they hit. But let me be clear, they spent 4 years working on this. They spent all their money to buy into it and have a dream and then figure out how to get by for 4 years without any return on that investment. Maybe there was some selling hets. I think they were holding back everything they could so they could hit everything that they could. They had to wait at least 2 years to pair those siblings, and a female, I'm sure they waited close to 3. And then they said that there were clutches they missed on. We only hear of the amazing stuff. You don't hear of all the heartache and the heartbreak. That doesn't make headlines. Kabilka doesn't make a video about every time a guy like me misses on a clutch. Nobody cares about that. We only see these things that really hit, and that's amazing. And so I really want to highlight and focus that it was amazing odds, but they paid for it in all the other clutches that missed. We got to keep at our projects. We got to see them through, and that is why snakes are so expensive. I don't know what Kabilka paid for the Sunset Pied that he bought from these gentlemen, but I could tell you, whatever he paid didn't cover 4 years of work and hope and heartache and explaining to significant others and investors where their money's at. I'm real proud of these guys. I hope they make a bunch more. I hope they make a boatload of money. And they seem to be real good dudes. They were very, very good dudes to me. I want to say thank you very, very much to Captive Bred Specialties for giving me the blessing to go on this, as well as helping me with some of the media. I hope to work with you guys soon. Congratulations on all that you got going on. You are the coolest ball python in the world for October 2021. Keep it right here on the Proper Royals channel. I'll always tell you what the coolest ball python in the world is. I'll tell you everything we got going on here. Until next time, see ya.